Hello and welcome to Going 19, the Stephen King podcast. Today is episode 67, where we're covering Wolves of the Calla, The Dark Tower, Book 5. We'll be going over part 2, Telling Tales, covering chapters 1 through 5, which is the tale of Grey Dick. My name is Allie. With me are Amber and Ed. Let's start the show.
Hello.
Hello.
it's like deja vu all over again. All right. So I'm on the chapter page. Part 2, Telling Tales. So well, I guess part 2 is what it sounds like so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got to fall in love with Callahan again.
Oh my god, I like it.
We haven't
like
even
him so
really
much more.
gotten to all of it yet, but it's just like he's such a likable character, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see a movie just on like Callahan post on Salem's Lot or something.
Well, and having read Salem's Lot, I don't know why when he started his story, I expected him to start it like immediately post Salem's Lot. So I was very confused when he wasn't there yet. And I was like, wait, where are we? I know all this already.
I forgot that he was a drunk in Salem's Lot, and that was part of the problem.
That
Yeah.
was part of his faith crisis, I guess you could
Yeah.
say. I think he says that it's easy to wait.
Yeah.
Are you having a crisis because you're a drunk, or are you a drunk because you're having a crisis? I think that was
Right.
I think the
So
end
it was
result's the same.
it
Go
was
ahead.
nice to get that little recap because, like, even we were saying last time, I don't exactly remember what happened, but
I think I got right. We went and read Sounds a lot. All we had to do was read that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
He's got some nice little synopsises going on in here. Eddie, so he's talking about the second time they went Toadash, I think, here at the beginning, right? He said it wasn't 19 last night.
Yes.
It wasn't the same. So
When they went to see the rose, it wasn't quite the same. Yeah.
They said that it wasn't 19 and it was real. Wait. That one nurse is real. Wait.
so
I don't know
they okay. So if they're Toadash, they're not really there. So they weren't Toadash, is what they're saying. They were really there.
Well, I mean, according to like how Callahan goes Toadash, it's more of just world skipping than it is like
Yeah, that guy
temporary.
sleeps on top of Black 13. What the fuck is he doing?
Well, how
How
about
about some?
I mean, I
Go
know we're
ahead.
not into his story completely yet, but the fact that he just like he's like, I don't really know which world I'm in until I see like the pink or the green bed or whatever it is. And I'm like, how can you live like that?
Yeah.
That
Well, I got very confused when he was like, if I looked in my wallet and I saw like so and so's face on this bill, I would know where I was. And I was like, okay, so does the money change depending on the world you're in, or do you have just like a bunch of money that you can't use in the world you're in because it doesn't have the right face?
I think it changes because the presidents change.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the money itself, the people on them change, and that is one of the ways he knows what world he's in. Oh
But
my
he's
god.
just like, whatever. At least I know. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Y-
Yes, he
Yeah,
was
so
very
he's
chill
hiding.
about all of that.
I mean, he does drink a lot. Uh, now he's just old. He doesn't care anymore. But like, so when he's hiding from the low men, by the way, I was glad.
Yeah, you were right. That's definitely why we had to read that story first.
Mhm.
Right. I knew there was a reason, and I thought I had it right because I think you did the same thing. Am I right? Didn't I tell you the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot
I
that they made another appearance, but I was like, oh, I like almost, you know.
I will say it was kind of funny. I had just read the part where the Lumen show up in this, and I was walking around my neighborhood and I saw stars and moons and chocolates and kids had gone, and I was like, oh my god.
Where were we, Amber?
They're here.
Rita's. So
Oh yeah,
we
there was the
saw
hopscotch.
yeah, and I think it had,
There was like a star. It wasn't on there, but it was like nearby.
like it didn't have the moon, but it had like a something. It had two of the three criteria. It was like a star and something. There's a to show it to you. There's a lost dog poster showed up at the end of our block like a week ago. I'm like, and it says "Do not approach." I'm like, ooh, that's a different tactic. Usually, just it's like "Do not approach." Immediately call. I was like, ooh, so I guess he's dangerous. So, we feel sorry for Jake not being a boy anymore, but I feel like it's all his fault. So
Yeah, I feel like it started when you let him die.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's not his fault that Jake's there. I don't know who controls that, but he.
No, but I agree with you. He needs to just like get over it. We're already past that. Like
Yeah, well,
of
half
all
of it's
things,
just
that's what you're gonna feel bad about.
yeah, and you notice it's a couple pages in. He says, "Without
Oh yeah, the boy.
roll, yep, yeah." Roland calls him the boy, and I even wrote that. I was like, "The boy, what's going on?" Like Jake turned into the boy. That's not a good sign.
Yeah, but so when Roland says it in this way, he's like, I'm not gonna be able to call him that anymore because he's growing up. And that was not my interpretation of the boy. Like it was more as a way of depersonalizing him in my mind.
Well, at least in the gunslinger it was.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's just, well, same effect, different
Well, no, because this way
motivations.
he makes it kind of endearing. Or he's like, I call him that so he can help. I hold on to his childhood for him. Like,
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been the one that had him like shooting plates if you wanted him to keep being a kid. Or do this super cool thing where they'll never see you the same again, and then just go back to like jumping out the bar window.
right. When you could have had Susanna or Eddie do it too.
I think it'd been more impressive if someone without legs from a wheelchair was doing that.
Yeah, at the same time, though, I get it because he's proving that even the youngest and the least experienced of them can do this.
Listen, I agree with you, but he needs to stop feeling sorry for himself about Jake growing up.
Right.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah,
much. Yeah, it's not his fault. Jake's there, but everything else is pretty much his fault since Jake got there. Wherever they are. So yeah, so mid-world is where Jake showed up, and they're in end world right now, and that's just two parts of the same whole, like North and South America, right? I think.
Yeah, I mean, and at least I don't know how accurate it is, but on the map I have, it's more like east-west. But yeah.
Well, yeah, so turn it sideways, but yeah, same point. I like and I use that. When I read this part, it was about the like part 4, how they didn't real. I never pictured the Calla. I just pictured the Calla kind of as like a flat desert with train tracks running through it. And like they talk about the breathtaking, stomach-dropping view of the town, and they're overlooking it. And I actually used a picture that was like that for the YouTube part because the image I thought was really cool. It's looking down. The one we use on the thing is like the wolves looking down over the town where they're about to go take all the kids.
Yeah.
Mm.
I like the overlook view. The how do you say Devartiti? Why is the weird name of the river?
Oh
The
wait.
branch of the big river known as Devartiti, where it came out of the forest, the Devartiti or Tate. I don't know what language I'm supposed to be using there.
I don't think he does either. So.
Right. They lowered and entered. Yeah, I always thought that was a weird name. I think the first time I never even realized it was a river. Andy's being a smart ass to edit. Those who hold conversations with themselves keep sorry company, sighed Eddie. I'm trying to get to the part. Eddie is. Wait, Roland already did the dance, right? Or did he do that in this part?
I think
He does in this section.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
So
what he's talking
bizarre.
about. So we jump forward to Eddie, and he's like, of all the things that night, he remembered. Nothing was more vivid than the memory of the gunslinger doing that. A Roland dancing, that's what he says. Like, yeah, because, I feel like, I said this before, like, Roland never really seems like got the chance to be a gunslinger, like, as it was in, the society at the time. He wasn't, he keeps running into these people where he practices these old traditions, I guess you'd say. But like I feel like he never got a chance to live that life where he's interacting with people as a gunslinger because if he became a gunslinger, got sent west, came back, and then you know Martin Gabrielle thing happened, and then Farson attacked. Like so, he never got to like live. So all these little things, like I think he takes his entire wealth of knowledge, not necessarily using, so he takes advantage of it when he can.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was Roland dancing is just hard to wrap my head around.
I also like seeing it from Eddie's perspective because, of course, he would find it the funniest or the strangest.
Yeah, Eddie's known him the longest. Right? Another little Charyu tree going on there. Throw shit at us and yell Charyu tree. Yeah, but I'm trying to pick up the timeline again.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to where.
I hate sometimes I get like 10 pages without highlight. I don't know what's going on. I think I didn't. Oh, Eddie gave the speech, which I don't know why I don't remember why he had to do it. I didn't highlight any of that. The best part of that was the first surprise, Oi bowing to the assembled Califocan and declaring himself Antet with his traveling mate.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Like, Oi, Elf, Dicky. Like, what? He's like speaking sentences now. What is going on? I don't remember Oi doing.
I mean, he's clearly like improving the more time he spends with Jake, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Because
like a little furry.
like if they're intelligent enough to speak in the first place, I feel like they should be able to like continue learning and improving that if they've lost it a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
How about, Jake saying he's from the Catet of 90 and 9.
Yeah, I was very confused about that.
Was that? Wait, I think I have that somewhere.
It's on the same. It's right after. Wait.
He
right
just kind of
before
sneaks that through, and like nobody said anything, right? Wait, Kata 19.
Roland.
Eddie's 9.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I
like,
see it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say Roland like whispers in Jake's ear, and then he says it, and Eddie's like 99. What's this 99 shit?
I see it. Yeah, and then it's like, well, he didn't know what the content of 19 was either, and he said it himself.
Right.
It's that's a good point.
but at least 19's been like coming up, and 99 we haven't heard of before now. So it's like, what is this now?
Yeah, that is
right
true.
now we got to see 99 everywhere. Oh my god, I can't keep up with 19. I mean, is that? I guess that is our first 99. I don't remember. Well, I kind of remember.
I'm wondering how Roland, like, where did that come from?
Roland doesn't seem too bothered. Well, all right, he can't. What is Roland's take is I can't worry about things I can't control right now. Or
how did
like
Roland know? Like, why did he tell Jake to say 99?
You think that's what he said?
I don't think he told Jake to say the 99. I think he told him to like let Oi declare himself.
I mean,
like remember the face of your father or something.
It's possible. I guess we can't really know because it says Roland bent to whisper a brief something in Jake's ear. Jake nodded and then stepped forward confidently. And that's when he says it.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of seem like he told him to say something. I don't know. Maybe he just said, speak true and speak strong, Jake.
But Jake wasn't done. He lifted Oi, so it's like it could be either.
Yeah. Because, like, Jake already would have known through everyone else doing it that he had to introduce himself.
I do feel like we've
But
seen.
it was when he lifted Oi out that he like looked to Roland for confirmation. So.
Well, right. Well, that's wait. He did.
For Oi. Yeah. Jake gave Roland a quick glance. Are you sure? It asked, and Roland nodded.
I do think we've seen 99 before now. I just can't remember.
That's our email address and Facebook. 99 going 19.
Well, I mean, we know what it's from, but
yeah, I mean, it's not like a secret, right? Do we need to like pretend like we don't know? Okay, we don't know what it means in the story, but we know why it's there.
The date of his accident was June 19th, 1999.
Oh. Did not know that. Didn't remember that at least.
Oh, so you were totally confused. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
We should have just left it at that.
I figured it had something to do with that, but I didn't know for sure.
Well, like you hit Stephen King, and literally all he could do was sit there and write because he couldn't walk. So.
It's
this
funny
is what happens.
How we're seeing signs of the real quote unquote real world in the book, but we're also seeing signs of the actual real world in the book. Like,
okay, go tell me, explain that a little better.
Because so like all these connections that they're seeing between going Toadash and like one New York seems real, maybe one doesn't, but then also like we're now seeing hints, like they're saying 99 to us as the reader, and we know that his accident was in 1999, and we're like, wait a second, what's happening here? Like parts of the real world are coming into their real world.
Well, hopefully that's the last time that happens. Yes, it doesn't get any less confusing as we keep going, that's for sure. I'm still trying to. I still haven't figured out who the Man in Black is, so I haven't moved past that.
Well, we know some of who he is, just not all of them.
Right. So far, he's everybody that's bad and magical,
except for maybe Stephen King.
Yeah, he might end up being him at some point. You never know. That guy's a little mysterious. How much he has barely been mentioned, right? Maybe only a couple times. I think I learned more in that like synopsis at the beginning of this about him than anywhere else. Or maybe that was Crimson King.
Yeah.
He's like the big lurking bad guy that you might not ever see, kind of thing.
Well, he's not even that. I mean, I guess he's been lurking kind of since Wizard and Glass, because that was really the first time we were affected.
Yeah.
I wonder if he existed before Wizard of Glass in Stephen King's mind, or if he just like
was Flag or was whatever the Walter the villain before the original one.
Right. RF. Intrepid constant reader, you might notice those initials. I think I need that shirt just so it's a shirt that says constant reader on it. if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. So I guess you would say, all right. So when they went to the Rose, and I barely remember what happened. Susanna stayed at the fence. Oh, and they were like, "Oh, the Rose is so awesome," and then like dead people started showing up. Right? How that ended. And Roland's getting real suspicious of Susanna not wanting to go anywhere near like the stuff that they all want to see.
Oh, you in the last section?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about this section because
no, I'm saying if they weren't Toadash, what was going on there? I guess is my question. Because clearly they're saying it was different than the first time.
Well, I don't think we know that yet.
Yeah. So what was different, and do I care?
The first time they said that like it didn't feel real, right? Or is that the second time? I can't remember.
Was the black stuff there the second time? I don't remember.
The black stuff was there both times, but I think it was there more the first time.
Going toe dash doesn't mean you're like you could go toe dash and go 19. Or you could go toe dash and go to Keystone. Well, I don't know if we know that yet.
All right. I don't know what a keystone is.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I think
So I don't think
either
the black
way.
is gonna tell us if it's real or not.
Yeah, maybe not.
But the point I was trying to make is, and I have to, maybe we'll get to it in the book here, but I remember thinking one of them, they were saying one felt real and one did not.
Yeah, like in the one they couldn't actually like interact with the objects they were passing through them, but like not in the other one. They were like they could have died, you know, like that's the difference.
Yeah. Allie, were you gonna say something?
Well, I didn't really get the feeling that they couldn't die versus they could in one or the other.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I also I mean, people were ignoring them in like both times they went toe dash too. So I feel like I know they said in the book it felt different, it felt real, but just reading through their experiences, like I don't know that I really saw a difference between the two times, personally, at least.
Yeah, I can't say that I remember what they said made it different.
They didn't really.
Yeah, the whole dance is from Eddie's perspective. You're like inside Eddie's head the whole time. I like that. That's the stuff you don't get with Susanna like enough. To, know where she's coming from.
Yep.
I guess it's too complicated in there. Like, oh God, it's crowded. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, not on Susanna. Like, I wonder what Susanna's thinking. We know what Mia's thinking.
Yeah, like what does Susanna think?
Because she thinks. Oh no, she doesn't think she's pregnant because she's getting her period, right? Right. Which I like their explanation for that. Or like that means it's not a human baby. I'm like, okay.
Oh well, yeah, I've never thought of it that way. That when Eddie's like, you're not doing a good job of making me feel better.
I'm surprised
he's
maybe
like, hey,
he did, but he's like, that's not my job.
Yeah, rolling the therapist. He's like, hey, by the way, the baby's not yours; it's a demon baby. Are you cool with that? Because like Susanna can't know that she's having a demon baby yet because I need her to like throw some plates at people, possibly. And Eddie's just like, okay, whatever. And I don't really.
Yeah, he kind of was way too calm about that.
Right, like fucking Eddie was taking tranquilizers or something. What?
Maybe
Roland just said, "I want to use your wife until I don't need to anymore, and then we can deal with the whole pregnancy thing." And then he's like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Sure, why
not?" He did say that like his primary goal is saving the rose, so he'll save. He even said like, "I'll sacrifice her for that if I have to," but like
I'm not buying that. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like at that point it's basically just trying to turn him into Roland, and I'm like, that's not the point of Eddie though. Like, we need dissenting opinions from Roland's.
Right, Eddie's he's trying too hard, I think, to make Eddie all in. Like, I think all in means different things to different people. For Roland, it means who cares if everybody dies, but I don't think that's what it means for Eddie.
Yeah.
What good is gaining the tower if you've lost everything? Telford slimes his way up to Eddie. I don't like that guy. He's kind of greasy. I like.
Which one is he?
The one that looks like Pa Cartwright.
The one that looks like what?
The one who looks like Pa Cartwright.
Right. Yeah. 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 Like straight out of the Beverly Hillbillies. He's asking. He's talking to Eddie like, how many guns do you have? Well, you want to take on the wolves. You have no guns. He's like, I think the idea is madness. I've made no secret of it. Like he's uh
Yeah, I'm there
almost
now.
logically explains why it doesn't work, and you can almost believe him. And he's like, well, Overholzer felt that way and changed his mind. He's like, oh yes, Wayne the Weather Vane, we call him. Like, oh, he's got a nickname. This isn't the first time he's changed his mind, or he just made it up on the spot. He did it pretty good. He and yeah, like enroll. You're, I think Amber said, you said, like, or I just read that everyone really wants to know them to prove who they are. It's like, look, it's do it or don't. We can keep going. I'm not gonna. Why do I need to
Right.
like that? That's what Telford says. I never heard of a woman gunslinger. No, or a boy, even apprentice. How are we to know who you say you are? Tell me, I beg. I love the way they talk.
Like, you're not really in a place to like be asking these kinds of questions.
Yeah, you
Or
don't.
like if you've never seen a gunslinger before, then how? Like, what could he do to prove it? What could he possibly do to make you believe that he's actually a gunslinger, other than like put on a shooting display, which at that point you're wasting ammo, or to like outright kill someone, which you don't want him to do because the wolves aren't there yet.
Yeah, that is
I mean,
true.
I don't think gunslingers can do it. It's either look. It's like this. They are who they say they are, or well, they're either gunslingers or harriers, right? Well, who else would they be coming into town like this? So
Yeah.
either they are who they say they are and they're going to help, or they're not and they're all fucked. So either way, I don't have to prove to you who I am. Take it or leave it. You better hope I am who I say I am, because if I'm not, you're fucked.
Right. Too late either way.
And if we're like harriers, we're in town, buddy. We're not leaving now. We just took over. You didn't know it. Like they're not going to wait for the feather to talk. The all important feather of justice. And then and Telford's like, "Who are you really? Tell me, I beg." I'd have been like, "Dude, no,
Who are
That's
you
the end.
really?
Yeah." And Eddie's like, "I hope you're not questioning my honesty. I hope to Christ you're not doing that." Like, yeah, get him. Eddie's my fear. Fear wasn't better than respect, but by God, it was better than nothing. Have you ever used the guns you carried? Like, you stop questioning me. This is starting to feel like an interrogation. So you know what? I was so annoyed at this guy with all these questions. I couldn't take. Like I wanted to reach into the book and like, slap him in the face. And I like because I thought the same thing. Like Telford sounded so reasonable. He sounded like the people in what was it, Blood, where they're like, "You shot fucking Winston. Today was his birthday. What'd you do that for?"
Oh man.
Yeah, that reasonable tone. He's like, I still remember that. Like, Eddie's like, "Oh yeah, Winston was trying to kill me." That probably had something to do with it. He danced twice with Susanna in his arms. So he was carrying her, right? That sounds heavy. Although I guess Eddie's, I guess he's pretty buff at this point. He's been pushing that damn wheelchair all over the place, right? And wherever they go, it just doesn't seem to. He doesn't seem to get tired of it. It's like the radio on Gilligan's Island; it never runs out of batteries. Wait, do you guys know what that is?
Say that one more time. What'd you say?
Gilligan's Island. Do you know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
The radio, like for 10 years, never ran out of batteries. Like that, there's a commercial for Duracell right there. Okay, and then Eddie thinks her boobs look bigger, and then dismissed it. isn't he sleeping like cradling her every night? Wouldn't he notice? Oh, and by the way, Ember, um, Honky Tonk Woman made another appearance. Did we talk
I
about
saw.
that?
I think we talked about it like privately.
Yeah. Alley Honky Tonk Woman is the same song in 11/22/63 that gives away the time traveler as something is not right with him. It doesn't give away what he is doing, but it makes everyone suspicious. So clearly he likes that song. He's a big Stones fan, I think. They're in a lot of his stuff.
Yeah.
And apparently, "Hey Jude" is his favorite song ever because it's for some reason all over Midworld, which I never really. I guess that's one of them things like one of the Callahan type people brought it over with him, hopping back and forth between worlds. So when he's hiding, it took me a minute for that to figure out that he was just like randomly world hopping for no reason. He just started hearing the chimes out of the blue, right? Or was it the Low Man? Was that the first time he heard him? Or first time he world flipped when he was hiding from them?
No.
Well, he started hearing the chimes when he started seeing the blue around the vampires.
Yeah, it's when he started being able to see the like. I think the chimes were connected to the vampires.
He could always see the blue, right?
Well, once
After-
Barlow bit him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. In New York, like in his story, he could always see the vampire.
Yes.
Uh,
But he said as like it was after the thing with Barlow that it started happening and he wasn't sure what was wrong with him. He couldn't get the taste out of his mouth.
oh yeah, what was it? Onions.
Like dead
Smell of
fish
onion.
and something, I don't remember.
It don't all the vampires smell like old onions or something? Anyway, like the black guy bopping to that same beat. It's all the beam and it's all 19. Singing 19 now. I like how he made up like a whole song for the Come Come On song. I didn't. I guess I'm not sure how I'm supposed to be singing that in my head.
I mean, I kind of just glossed over that.
Oh, I tried to actually like say it. The most of them, some of them are words and some of them aren't. So that makes it more difficult. Anyway, so they fall in love with Roland, who has what, rheumatism or something. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Like,
It's not regular arthritis apparently, because that's what's the dry twist? Wait, did they say dry twist yet?
I think so. I
yes,
don't
they
really
did.
understand the point of that anyway. If
Okay.
not, just to tell us that Roland's getting old, I guess, because there's no concept of time.
Well, he's clearly hiding it.
Yeah, that I also
But
don't understand.
why? Why does it matter? Like he's hiding that. He's hiding Mia. He's telling Eddie to shut up. I think he told Jake not to say something. I think so. This is not a good like trend that I'm seeing here.
He's
Roland
hiding
keeping
those
secrets. I'm
notes,
not.
too.
Yeah, what? Sorry.
Well, no, like just at the end of the section, he's like, I have another plan that I can't trust anyone with because I can't trust Eddie not to tell Susanna, who might be influenced by Mia, and Jake might tell his new friend. So I just have to keep my own counsel. And I'm like, what? I don't
Yeah.
understand why they are his contact if he feels like he can't trust them with things.
Right.
What's the
Yeah,
point?
I was kind of mad. You gotta say. As soon
And
as he
like,
said, "I can't trust anybody," like, okay, you need to give Eddie more credit, and you need to stop overlooking Jake. Jake is probably the strongest one of the bunch right now.
for sure. And how about the fact that, like, clearly the way he's done it in the past has not worked for him, so maybe he should try something different.
Right? He's like, well, if I'm wrong, they'll all die, but I'll still go to the tower.
I'll get a new cadet.
Right? We'll see what happens. Clearly, yeah.
As before, will again.
Yeah, I was annoyed and disappointed that he was saying that stuff. It seemed very convenient. Um,
Mhm.
but and it goes to the same, like he's keeping secrets now. Why? Is it just like, let's just deal with the wolves and we'll worry about all this shit later?
Yeah.
'Cause isn't that how it ends? It's like 23 days to the wolves or something. And how do they know the exact day? Andy was like moon to moon or whatever he said.
I think he said 30 days or something. I remember
Yeah,
they.
he said 30. Did he say the exact day? And the guy was like moon to moon and something, something. He's like close enough.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Or maybe he did say the exact day. Um, yeah, Callahan. I love his story. I, I, I would like to pull his story out and make another little book about him, like from Salem's Lot until Dark Tower. I want that.
Mhm. I remember the first time I read this book, like the his story really stuck with me, and I kind of just loved the idea of like being able to walk somewhere and then just kind of find a bridge that's not usually there and walk into another version of your universe.
I think that would
Okay.
also be a little scary, but it is fascinating.
Well, would it be, I don't know, an easy way to lose your mind?
Well,
Never
that's
know.
why like Callahan. Well, maybe he already has lost his mind at that point because he doesn't really seem to care. Well, no, that's not fair. He does at first. Because when it
He
first happens, he thinks he's like, I'm not going crazy. I am here. This is real. I know this is real.
was it like Inception where he spins to the top to see, see if he's in the real world? Yeah, I mean he's went from Barlow and just drank. He just got on a bus and ended up in New York, I think, right? And he was clearly running from that. He's just a drunk in the beginning, and then he like sobers up and falls in love with forgot his
Lupe.
name.
Delgado.
Lupe. Of course. That's because things are going 19. His name is Delgado. I like that everything's going 19 and I get to keep saying it. It finally makes sense. A little town called Los Zapatos. Like really, even I know what that means. The
The
shoes.
Well, but,
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
yeah, but that was also the town where Mark and what's his face were hiding at the beginning of Salem's Lot.
Oh,
Was it?
I did not remember that.
Yeah.
It can't be real, right? Well, there might be a town called the Shoes. I don't know.
I don't know. Did not look that up.
I was kind of hoping it was Zihuatanejo, but it was not. You guys know what that's from?
Nope.
Shawshank is the town in Mexico that they meet in at the end.
Mm.
Little town. He describes it. I can't quote it. My brother can. Little town in the middle of nowhere. Zihuatanejo, because he couldn't say it. All right, he couldn't write it down. He had to remember it. Because they were in prison. Anyway, that's a different story. I like how Callahan says, and he's talking about Black 13, and he's like, did it send you anywhere? And he's like, Los Zapatos, and I think it sent me to the Castle of the King. And Susanna's like, what king? Arthur Eld? Is like, well, no, not quite. Let's just not mention that at night. It's probably a bad idea. And the poor guy on the Red Sox, man, he calls him out in the book by name. Like, oh, what's there for eternity?
Wait, is it a real guy?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But it really happened. What he's talking about.
Ah.
Okay.
I'm not a sports fan. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's a whole special on like how long it took him to get over it. Anyway, like a when they go to Callahan, so what did he say? There's nothing, or rather, nothing in front of something when they're looking at, or they know where the ball is, but they're not necessarily looking at it yet. He, like, sends his mind in the direction of Callahan's church. I think we're in Roland now. Yeah, he's like, there's nothing, or rather, nothing in front of something, like a cloaking device from Star Trek. We don't know. He hasn't told that story, right? How he got Black 13, right?
What?
We don't know how Callahan ended up with Black 13 yet, right?
Not yet.
Yeah, I still go back to, why the hell are you sleeping on top of this thing that sends you world hopping for no reason?
Well, I don't. Is he sleeping in the church, or is he sleeping in the house where they're staying?
He sleeps in the house, I thought.
Well, I don't mean literally right on top of it. I just meant.
Well, yeah, that's true, because they have service in there.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, look, Callahan's like king shit, huh?
Well, somebody even had that thought. They were like, wow, like that ball is there when they have service. They could just send them all flying out if they wanted to.
Yeah, like, why isn't that out in the middle of the, like, desert or jungle or whatever is around them somewhere, buried very deeply where no one can ever find it?
You know, it doesn't really seem to matter because it's still finding them.
Yeah.
It does have a long reach.
Before they even went to the town.
Right.
So.
Roland's dreaming about Jericho Hill, man. I might have to go get my graphic novel and read about Jericho Hill.
Yeah.
I get excited like every time he remembers it.
He's still.
Yeah.
It's just interesting, I guess. I don't, like, was the graphic novel out at this time, or like he never talks about it in the actual series?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Like, did he know that was coming out, or he just wanted to keep that like a secret forever?
Like, he wanted to keep that for his, just in case I want to write something again. I wish he would. I don't know. I'd have to look at that. Because it's kind of, it's like, it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
In the context.
All gunslingers except for Roland. Yeah, that's kind of big.
Yeah, your whole society, civilization fucking ended, basically. And that influences, like, everything that's happening right now. It's happening because of that. It is just really difficult.
But I'm just gonna keep calling it the Jericho Hill incident.
All right. That is the end of the podcast. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.